Do y'all like Stormy? Like, honestly, do y'all really like Stormy? Do y'all think that Stormy is an integral part of this show? Because honestly and truly, it really seems like all Stormy does is be messy. Stormy doesn't have a real storyline. We're not seeing anything honestly and truly about Stormy's life. She's being unnecessarily messy and petty. It's like we can be on her side 1 minute. We're on her side with the whole Tisha situation. But then she turns around and then she starts picking at Marceau again unnecessarily. What's good, y'all? I'm Tammy. This is Tammy Talks. 11 Marriage Huntsville, Season 6, Episode 27, Peace Before the Stormy. If you are brand new to the channel or a returning viewer that is not yet subscribed, y'all do me a favor. Go ahead, hit that subscribe button for me. Thumbs up the video if you enjoy any part of this video. And then leave some comments down below. We got a couple things to talk about. So the episode starts off with a very, very boring scene between Maurice and Kimmy. Basically, they're at the new location of their office space. Kimmy wants Maurice, I think she said, hang some pictures. He don't want to do it. He wants to hire somebody to do it. She feels that he doesn't want to help her. She says she married a man that, likes to build, likes to do these things. Maurice said, well, I'm a whole lawyer too. We get it, Maurice. You tell us every chance you get that you are a lawyer. I didn't know that meant that lawyers can't hang pictures. I didn't know that meant that if your wife asks you to do something simple, kind of minute, that you can't do it because you a whole lawyer. You're not Johnny Cochran out here. Okay, let's get that very, very, very understood. Stop it. You doing too much. You doing too much. Maurice is such an ass. Oh my God, it's such an ass. I zone out on all of his scenes because he is draining to watch. He has absolutely no respect for Kimmy. I mean, zero respect for her. Kimmy is like, I don't want to keep hearing that. You act like you don't want to help me. Kimmy says she married a man that knew how to do that stuff, that liked to do this stuff. I zoned out. So I don't know if he's going to, he told her, give him a list and he's going to make sure it gets done. No, he's going to pay somebody else to do it because Maurice is too good, apparently, to hang some pictures or whatever small thing Kimmy is asking him to do. Kimmy then decides to deflect off of the disaster that her marriage is and talk about Marceau and Tisha. Why she decides to tell Maurice that Tisha took a pregnancy test is beyond me. But she tells him that Maurice said there might be more to this story. I guess they got vasectomies together 4 years ago. So if it wasn't going to take, something would have slipped through then. Now, Kimmy is a nurse, okay? Kimmy is a whole registered nurse. Kimmy knows that while vasectomies are used to stop a man from being able to father more children, sometimes vasectomies do fail. I don't know why Kimmy is making this into a big deal. I don't know why Tisha even told Kimmy on camera that she took a pregnancy test. Y'all want to deflect from everything that's really going on with y'all in y'all lives, that Tisha brought up this bullshit test so that we won't focus on the fact that it really seems like her and Marceau are separated. Y'all give absolutely no indication that y'all are still together, living happily as a married couple. But whatever. Kimmy then says, but don't tell Marceau, don't tell your little brother that his wife took a pregnancy test because, I guess. We then pan over to Stormy. So Stormy goes to see Tisha at the location of the future Scott Realty. Tisha says that she's not productive at home. Why? Why? But okay. So Stormy asks her, how have things been since the barbecue? Tisha said things have been really good for her. She has not talked to Kiki. She has nothing to talk to Kiki about. I don't know why Stormy feels that this is any of her business. These are not like this is not like a group of friends that you've had since high school and two of y'all are not talking and you feel it necessary to intervene to try to bring your friends back together. These are two first cousins that have had this family feud since they were younger, that now as adults nobody can make them talk, so they're not going to. I don't know why Stormy cares this much. Truth be told, you don't know Kiki. You don't know Kiki for you to even care this much. You barely like Tisha. Carlos. Excuse me, Carlos. Carlos is so worried about what's going on the Housewives of Atlanta and Potomac. What's wrong with your shows, Carlos? You have to take some accountability as the EP for the disaster that these shows are. This is making absolutely no sense. Okay, so Tisha is very stuck on saying that, Kiki is still using. I don't have any proof. Haven't seen her use, but her behavior is indicative of somebody that's using. Shut up, Tisha. You can't accuse somebody of being on a drug if you don't have proof. You cannot keep saying with such certainty that you don't when you don't have proof. I understand that they have seen Kiki at her highest, but you can't. I have seen people at their drunkest. I cannot say in a video where they might be playing around or just being goofy. I know what they look like when they drunk, so they're drunk. You know what I mean? And I get that drunk and high are two different things. But for Tisha and Marceau to continually say that they know that for a fact she's using with no proof is annoying. It's annoying at this point. Tisha talks about how she went to Vegas for a friend's 40th birthday. She said that Marceau went to Colombia on a bachelor trip. And did she say this was their anniversary weekend? Y'all ain't together. Isn't it supposed to be like their 20th anniversary or night? Y'all ain't together. Why are y'all spending y'all... Whatever. So Stormy said what's to do in Colombia. And the amount of y'all that ignorantly got on Twitter and was like, what is there to do in Colombia? There's stuff to do everywhere, y'all. You sightsee. Nonetheless, Stormy said that that's where the brothels is. That's the brothel place. That's where all the men go because it's a bunch of hoes and prostitutes. So Tisha's like, is it? They said they had a good time. Tisha says in her confessional, because Tisha's not quick enough on her feet to say it in person, but Tisha says in her confessional that, her and Marceau are both adults. They know how to conduct themselves when they are not in each other's presence. And, she don't know why Stormy cares so much. And I don't either. Stormy in everybody's business but hers. Go worry about Canvas. That's what you need to be doing. So that you don't go into, back into the red like you were before. So that's what you need to be focusing all your energy on, Stormy. Not worrying about everybody else's, or really not worrying about Tisha's relationships with her husband and with her cousin. They decide to set up a double date so they can bring Courtney and Marceau back together. I don't know why, but alrighty. So Stormy then brings up the website and how Tisha copied and how, Tisha's webmaster ignorantly left Stormy's email on there for Canvas Beauty, showing that they copied at least that particular page of the website. Tisha's like, yeah, it wasn't me. I paid somebody else to do it. I didn't do it. If you want something done right, you got to do it yourself. Tisha, you did do this yourself. I refuse to believe that another webmaster said, hey, out of all the websites in all the world, we're going to go to Canvas Beauty, steal this portion of, I think it was like their return policy or something. We're going to go to Canvas Beauty, steal just this portion and do this. Tisha, you either told that man, build my website to look exactly like hers, or can you just use this information? Or what is probably the real thing, you copied down all the text and sent it over to that man, and that's why it ended up on the website. No matter how you look at this, Tisha, this was your fault because it's your website. This is yours. Stormy asks for an apology. Tisha doesn't think she owes her one. Tisha said, why would I apologize for it? I didn't do it. It's like... like, what can you say? What can you say? What can you say to somebody that's this obtuse, this ignorant, this stupid? But okay. Stormy said, well, you have to admit this is a bad look for you. Tisha said, this isn't a bad look for me. We got a lot of sales from that. Tisha, I am not one of those people that believes all press is good press. I do not believe that whatsoever. But for you to think that the world being, or the general public highlighting that you stole, you plagiarized, that was plagiarism. You'd have got your ass kicked out of college for doing that. That you plagiarized somebody's website for your own is not bad press for you. That did put you in a bad light. It absolutely did. It also teaches your kids that it's okay if there's some type of issue, as long as you didn't do it, whether you own it or not, we can just blame somebody else. Where is the accountability? This is what Marceau was telling you about when it came to the Expo. You lack accountability. The audacity of Tisha to say that this is not her fault, so she has nothing to apologize for. And then Tisha said it was just haters. People pointing out plagiarism is not a hater, sis. That's people pointing out your mistake. It would be best if Tisha just said, you know what, Stormy? I like the way that you had your stuff worded, so I just, you know what? I had the man copy and paste it. I didn't check it. I don't have a QA. Okay, I didn't audit my own website. I apologize for that. I feel like sometimes a very simple cut and dry, you know what, I effed up, that's my bad, goes a long way. Stormy said, well, you know, I got bad press from this too. So then Tisha said, I want to apologize because you, and it's like, you talking loud and slow now for no reason when you could have said that from jump. When is this show gonna end? Like, seriously. And I'm not talking the season, I'm talking the show. What is the purpose of this show at this point? So now we get to Nell and Chris, who I think were a horrific addition to this show. I know some of y'all are involved because y'all thrive on watching dysfunction on TV. Y'all like watching dysfunctional families. To me, there is nothing interesting about watching Nell and Chris belittle their kids, talk down to their kids, treat their kids like basic niggas off the street that owe them money, or you know, women that they just meet walking by. There's nothing entertaining to me about the way that Nell is behaving. Nell's still bitching about this money. Yeah, Chris Jr. ain't came and he owe me my money. Damn it, Nell, don't you own a successful daycare? Do you need that $3,000 back that damn bad? Are you that hard up for that money? Like, what's T says? Because the way that you are like so incessant on hammering your son over the head about this, God, it makes me thankful that if I wanted to go, or if I needed to go and borrow $100 from my parents right now, I wouldn't have to hear my mom bitch about it every time she saw me. Like, what's not getting through Nell's head? So Nell keeps saying, well, you know, Chris ain't calling me. Why would he? He can't call you and say, hey, Ma, how you doing? Because it's going to turn into, where is my money? I need my money on time. That's what Nell is. It is jarring to watch. She keeps calling her kids assholes. And it's like, who needs enemies when your mama is enemy number one? So she said that Chris Jr. needs to get off his ass and make some grown-ass decisions, which means doing right by his parents. Now, that part is partially true. Partially true. But to me, it's very odd. It's very odd that the only reason you want your son to get back on his feet is to give you the money. I kind of feel like, why don't you hire him to work at the daycare? Hire him to work at the daycare, and I mean, he was working for your other son's cleaning. Hire him to work at the daycare to clean up at night. And then that way you can get your money that way. There are other ways that you can do this now. You just want to be a bitch about it, to be real. So Fletcher tells her that Chris Jr. goes driving around 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning because he can't sleep. His mind is racing. Nell immediately goes to, what's open that time of night? Ain't nothing open but trouble. He's looking for trouble. That's how you get in trouble. And it's like, Nell, listen to what he is saying about your son. Take a moment to step back from complaining about this couple $1,000s that I don't even think y'all need that bad, to be real. And I get that it's the principle, but sometimes there's a bigger principle that has to come before this one. And that's the part Nell is missing. So then she goes on to say, well, then Fletcher is like, well, I think that he's fallen into a state of depression. So now Nell is like, oh, I didn't know about that. How would you? Every time you see your son, instead of talking to him and asking how he's doing, you are yelling at him about this money. He's asking for his dogs. Please get them damn dogs back. Somebody put in my comments that maybe the dogs are like a, what did y'all call it? Emotional support animal. And that could be true. That could be very, very true. I didn't think about that. Maybe he wants his dogs back. Maybe his dogs will relax and maybe they would keep him more sane. It's like, it is baffling to me how Nell is just, my God. I put on Twitter, I don't want to say she's a bad mother, but she's definitely very obtuse when it comes to emotional intelligence and just being nurturing. It makes me wonder, how was she when they were kids? Like, my gosh. So Nell then said that, well, Chris is not happy with his life and his career path. He hasn't been happy since, I guess, he got some letters for football. So he must have been good at football in high school. Maybe he got some letters for college. Whatever, something happened and his football aspirations did not come to fruition. So because of that, she acknowledges that, that coupled with us buying him everything and these souped up cars and doing all this stuff, all the stuff y'all didn't do for Lexi, y'all doing all that stuff for him, y'all have created a monster. She then goes on to say that, I let the money go. The money's not even a big deal. I was just trying to hold him accountable. But see, there's a way to hold people accountable without beating them over the head with it. Tough love is not always best for everybody. Tough love works for a lot of people, absolutely, but it doesn't work for everybody. And the fact that Nell is so willing to acknowledge that maybe what she's doing, this approach, is not working for Chris Jr., but for Lexi, it was basically fuck her and the horse she rode in on. That's the vibe that is given. I really don't care to see anything about this family because they all need to be in counseling. This isn't the right venue for them. This is not putting Nell in a good light. And I said it before, watching the way that Nell treats her own kids would not make me want to send my child to her daycare. I know some of y'all said y'all don't agree with that, but I think, if you're willing to act like this on camera with your own kids, how do you act like this? How do you act outside of the camera with your own kids? How do I know you're not yelling at these babies like this? I wouldn't do it. We then get Kimmy, Tisha, and Melody meeting up for pedicures. Mel has to very shadily say, I keep my feet done, but I'm here to be supportive. Just go on up in there and sit down, Mel. It don't always have to be all that. You know what I mean? If you didn't need to get your feet done for real, girl, just go get a quick polish change and call it a day. You are there to fellowship and for that call time. It don't always have to be an explanation on how you don't need to do something, but you're here to do it. We know that you are only doing this for the show. You ain't got to tell us every scene. So Kimmy's talking to Tisha before Melody gets there, and she's asking if Tisha told Marceau about the pregnancy test. Tisha said no, but I was really sick the next day. And it's like, I don't think Tisha has to tell him about the pregnancy test. Go to the doctor, get some blood work done, get some tests run, find out what the issue is. More than likely it's stress or something else, and then be done with it. Tisha said that the Yanni steam worked for her. Their sex is better than ever. Y'all ain't having sex. Kimmy said that it didn't work for her. Kimmy, your body is recovering from cancer and then radiation and then treatment. Nobody's expecting you to lay it low and spread it wide but Maurice, who is an asshole. Relax. I don't want to keep hearing about Kimmy's sex life though. I don't care about it. So Mel gets there. As soon as Mel gets there, Kimmy immediately is like, you've been busy. And Mel was like, yep, lots of things going on. Kimmy says, so I saw the invitation for your party, your name change party on Instagram. So Melody apparently, I don't follow anybody from this cast, but Melody apparently posted that you were all invited to such and such a ceremony. Kimmy says so her invitation must have got lost. Here's the whole thing, because I'm not going to go back and forth with the conversation. Kimmy, you are not that pressed that you did not get invited. This is why. Melody said that it was really just family and a few close friends there. Nobody from the cast was there but Nell and Fletcher. And honestly and truly, I think that they were the only two people there because production told Melody, you are going to have somebody from that cast here. So you need to pick a couple that is going to be able to take this information that they were there and run it back to the rest of the group to cause discourse. And Nell and Chris were the most mature people to have there. So that's why they got to go. Kimmy, you're not that hurt. You are not that hurt. I don't think Melody has to tell you why she didn't invite you. If you don't get invited to something that's something with somebody that's extremely personal like that, you know where you stand with that person. I shouldn't have to spell it out for you. But for me, it's the audacity of you to ask me why I didn't invite you anywhere. I don't have to. Kimmy, you are also the same woman that at the last reunion, when Maurice said that Kimmy and Mel are not even really friends for real, they're not that close. Kimmy, you sat there and did not correct your husband. You told Melody first at that reunion that y'all were not cool like that. You put that in the atmosphere. You blew that up. So the fact that you're never mad that you don't get invited to stuff. There has been many a thing that I have seen on Instagram that I have not been invited to. I'm like, oh, so-and-so was there. Okay, cool. Hope they had a good time. You should never be mad that you were not invited to anywhere. Why would you want to be at something that nobody wanted you at? That's the thing. Why did you want to go? Like, honestly and truly, why would Melody invite you to her name change ceremony when you and Tisha have constantly tried to get her back with Martell? When everything was going on with her and Martell, when y'all were kind of throwing it in her face, why would you think you would be invited to that? Tisha stayed quiet because she knew for damn sure she wasn't going to get invited. So Melody tells Kimmy, well, if I invite you, I have to invite Maurice. If I invite Tisha, I have to invite Marceau, who are then going to go back to Martell and throw it in his face and cause a big thing, which we see Chris Fletcher do next episode. But, Chris is being petty because Martell was yelling at his wife. If I don't want to invite you somewhere, I don't have to. I don't have to. Point blank, period. I do not have to. So, because Kimmy's little feelings are hurt, because she's in the confessional, I thought that we were friends and we're not close, intimate friends. You know y'all aren't. But okay. So Melody says in her confessional, she wants to invite people that are supportive of her. And said that she has not always gotten along with Tisha and Kimmy over the past couple years, and that's facts. So anybody that thinks that Melody owes them any type of explanation, you're crazy. Nobody has to give anybody a reason why they didn't invite them somewhere. So now that now that Kimmy's feelings are hurt, Kimmy wants to be shady. So Kimmy kind of brings up, well, Tisha, Melody felt the way, that you had an issue with her. Tisha was like, nope, it wasn't you. It was just everything coming to a head. While the way Tisha explained it, it does seem like, they have been piling on her, piling it on the entire entire meeting. And then by the time Melody interjecting something, it was at the end. Tisha was fed up. Nonetheless, they apologized to each other. They worked it out. That's the end of it. Kimmy still feeling away. Kimmy brings up Mel having a different last name than her kids. Said that it's an African American stereotype. So here's the thing. It might have been in the past, but I have never looked at somebody and wondered if they have their parents' last name. I have never looked at... My cousin just had a baby, right? The baby has her boyfriend's last name. They're not married. They're not engaged. No part of me thinks that she feels that she's going to be looked at as a stereotype because she doesn't have her baby's last name. Anybody that still thinks like that in 2023 is just incredibly ignorant. Not every woman that gets married changes her name. There are a lot of women who, because of their degrees, their credentials, entrepreneurship, different things that they've accomplished, that they don't want to change their last name. So Kimmy is like, that's just important. That just matters to me. That's important to me. Mel is like, you don't have the same last name as Jalen. It's just like, Kimmy, you're reaching. You're reaching. I'm sorry, but you are not that hurt. You were not invited. You can't be. You shouldn't be. Get over it. So Kimmy then asked if Tisha and Melody are going to follow each other on social media. They both are like, no, we're blocked. It's going to be too hard for us to unblock each other. It's not. Y'all can go type in. I think you can go to, I don't know. I've never unblocked anybody on Instagram, but I would think you can just go and type in each other's names. Y'all could have an assistant do it. They don't have to. Melody said that we're cool in real life. We don't have to be cool on social media, and that's facts. So I just feel like everybody is in everybody else's business. Kimmy, stop it. Stop it. You are being unnecessarily shady and messy. So then we finally get to Stormy and Courtney. They are playing pool. So they're waiting on Tisha and Marceau to come. Remember, they agreed to do the little double date. So Stormy is telling Courtney that Tisha did not take any accountability for the website and just kind of put it off on the web designer. And Courtney is the world. Don't she know it's her? She owns it. She don't, Courtney. She don't know that. So now Stormy doesn't know if these are the type of people she want to be friends with. Stormy is the type of person that Stormy's not witty. So when Stormy is in an argument with somebody or she's in a conversation with somebody, Stormy can't think of stuff on the fly, right? There are some people that are witty and some people that aren't. I'm a very witty person. If I'm in an argument with somebody, if I'm in like a discussion, a back and forth, I can think of shit off the top of my head like that, right? But there are some people that just can't. And Stormy is a person that cannot. So what happens with Stormy, and we have seen it throughout the couple seasons she's been on, she gets into it with somebody, then we see her in another scene. I just thought about what she said, and it's because she's not thinking about the argument, she goes straight to anger. So when you're not actually taking in the words that people are saying and you're not trying to think about it, you're going straight to anger. You're missing out on a bunch of stuff. So now she feels like Tiffany. She feels like Tisha was playing in her face. This happened how long ago, Stormy? Why are you just now rehashing this conversation? It's weird. It's almost like Stormy knows who to play with, and I feel like Stormy, I don't want to say she's scared of Tisha, but it's something that Stormy never goes at Tisha kind of in person. Have y'all noticed that? Is it me? Maybe I'm missing the scene. Tisha and Marceau show up an hour and a half late. The audacity of it all. It's awkward. Marceau was like, well, Courtney was mad at him. Courtney said, I ain't got no problem with you. So Stormy pipes up and it's like, yeah, you was calling him Mr. Steele. And Courtney was like, yeah, you know my last name. Don't play with me like that. Don't play with me like that. Marceau brings up, so you have an issue with that, but you didn't have an issue with your wife calling me a bitch over and over. And Courtney said, nah, I don't have no issue with that. Stormy is like, it's not a big deal because you agree with it. You should have told me your feelings was hurt. And this is where Stormy gets on my nerves. You know damn well calling a straight man a bitch, because y'all were in the comments acting very, very ignorant about it. Gay men don't mind it. I just feel like the way that y'all say anything to justify some people in some scenes is just, it's above me. But calling a straight heterosexual, what else is it, cisgender man a bitch is offensive. And you know it. And y'all know it. Y'all know it. It's offensive, right? So Marceau shouldn't have to tell her, you're hurting my feelings, you're offending me by calling me a bitch. He shouldn't have to say it. Stormy, you know that it's wrong, and that's why you're doing it. That's the thing. So Stormy is then like, well, I still stand on what I said. You know, you agree with me. You said you were the biggest bitch. And Tisha was like, well, you know, nobody wants to be called a bitch, though. And Stormy is like, but he agreed. He agreed with it. He said he the biggest one. He should have told me. So Stormy is in her confessional saying that I agreed not to call him a bitch again. And I'm going to stand on that because I respect his boundaries. But he was acting like a bitch. And it's like, but Stormy, do you understand that words mean things? So we're back in the scene, and Stormy is like, well, I mean, you was doing the stuff that you were doing. You were, you know, acting like a bitch, and that's why I called you one. So Marceau was like, we've had this conversation, and if you're going to keep doing that, I'm just going to ignore you. So Stormy gets called out on her bullshit, and she can't take it. So then she's like, I didn't call you one. I said you were. And it's like, Stormy, stop. Stop trying to play the semantics game. Like, you know what you're doing. You're trying to get under his skin. So Stormy is asking, like, if you got a problem with me, why you trying to get Courtney mad? Why not tell Courtney get your wife? You're going to stop involving your husband in your bullshit, because you're going to put Courtney in a position that he's not prepared for, or that's going to get that man super hurt. Stop using your husband to try to fight your battles. You try to get your husband all amped up, and truth be told, just because somebody is big and tall does not mean they won't get their ass whooped by the right person. So Stormy is like, you know, don't ignore me. You know, ignoring people, that's what got her, pointing to Tisha. That's why she got a drink thrown on her. So now Tisha's like, ignoring somebody is not justification for getting a drink thrown on them. And it's not. I think anybody with common sense can agree Kiki was wrong. Stormy is then like, nah, but I mean, that's what happened because of that. So Stormy is mad because now Stormy is the epitome of punch in the air because you look real stupid. And your husband doesn't have your back in this moment. Stormy has her back, but he's not tag teaming in the way Marceau and Tisha are going to tag team in. So now you're kind of losing right now. So now Stormy, now she want to pack up her pull stick. She picks up her keys. Oh my God, I gotta go. I gotta handle this phone call. She has a fake phone call where she does one of the, hey babe, who you saying hey babe to? Because your baby can't talk and your husband is right there. 2 seconds later, she's off the phone. Courtney is like, I'm gonna stay here. You don't want to keep playing. And it's like, you made yourself look stupid, Stormy. Stormy was the epitome of, I'm going to take my ball, I'm going to pack up my ball, and I'm going to go home. All right, y'all. Let me know what y'all thought about the episode. Y'all sick of the show? I'm so tired of this show. Like, it's like certain parts are kind of entertaining, but I just really want Carlos to focus on his show and not so much on what the housewives are doing over on Bravo. You don't work over there no more. You work here. You work here on OWN. Leave some comments down below, y'all. Catch y'all in the next one.